Y'all, we have a special speaker today. Many of you know him, but you don't know all about him. Come on in. Come on in. I am. Doug, come on, stand up so they know who I'm talking about. Doug, let's hear it. Let's hear it for Doug. Okay, Doug Oliver, born in Albertville, Alabama. The man is from Alabama. He went to Alabama Christian. He went to Lipscomb. He went to Mobile College. He went to the University of South Alabama, and he went to UAB. Wow.
And I even graduated.
I was going to ask you that. Registered nurse, master's in nursing, and a DNP, Doctor of Nursing Practice. The man taught at UAB for 25 years in the School of Nursing, leadership and management. But the most interesting thing of all is he is the proud father of a 1-year-old standard-sized poodle, 61 pounds, named George. Okay, George is on the left in the picture. Okay. George is fully trained. Doug is still in training. You may not know this, but Doug was responsible for the very popular bumper sticker, "Poodles are people too." Please help me welcome Doug Oliver.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Point of clarification, I taught for 8 years after working in hospitals for 25 years. I like honesty and transparency. Would you vote for me? Okay. This is the third time I've been invited to speak in this class, and it's always with mixed emotion that I get the invitation because, as some of you know, I've had some illness over the last few years, and I don't know if it's related to that or not, but I experience some anxiety that I have not really had in my life before. I tell people I'm a recovering, not alcoholic. I've never been an alcoholic. I'm a recovering, what's the word for shy person? Introvert, thank you. I'm a recovering introvert. The truth is, I'm content to sit in the pews. But I do enjoy getting up from time to time, and it's with difficulty that I do it. Now, those of you that know me perhaps better than others might not believe that, but it's pretty true, And I decided pretty quickly, after the last time I spoke, I started thinking, okay, if I get another chance, what am I going to talk about? And back in the early spring, not a real long time after I spoke the last time, a good friend of mine, we were in the car, and I always listen to Christian radio and contemporary Christian music. I love Gaither music, but this is different. This is, there are different genres of music. And I listened to contemporary music in the car, and we were talking, and she said, I wish I could enjoy Christian music, but it's all the same, and I've heard other people say it all sounds the same, and Donnie and I were laughing last week as we talked about songs to sing. He said, you're going to tell us about the 7-Eleven songs, 7 words repeated 11 times. And I said, well, yeah, sort of. And what's so ironic about my friend that I talked with is she likes rock music, and I mean old rock music, and heavy metal music. Now, some of you in here know how ironic that is, that Christian music is all the same, but she likes heavy metal, head-banging music. That's crazy talk. But then that's my opinion. I did just a tiny bit of research because that's what I learned in all those colleges. You want to be a little bit factual. So I did a little bit of reading on contemporary music. And do any of you remember the term Jesus music? Well, that originated back in the 1970s, and I remember that because I was in high school and college in the 70s, and that was actually the beginning of what has become a huge industry, and that's a key word. It is an industry now. It's defined as a genre of modern popular music which is lyrically focused on matters concerned with the Christian faith. And that, I think, is significant in a couple of different ways, in that it's a genre of modern popular music. That says that it gets popular play for all ages here and now. And I think that's significant because that song on the radio may be the only Jesus some people get all week long. Not to mention how much Jesus they get in a lifetime. So while some can be very critical that contemporary Christian music has become such a huge industry, meaning to make money, the other side of it is it might be the only Jesus some people are ever exposed to, and that makes it extremely important in my heart. It began in the 60s, or supposed historically, it began in the 60s with the revival or with what was called at the time of Jesus music. It was differentiated from hymns, gospel, and Southern gospel, which is more the Gaither stuff, which like I said, I love that too, but we're still talking about something a little different. There was a couple of lines here that I wanted to share with you. Okay, I thought this was really interesting. Several mainstream artists, such as, and this is a history lesson, but in this class, I think most of us will know some of these names. Several mainstream artists, such as the Byrds, Bob Dylan, Van Morrison, Elvis Presley, Creed, Lifehouse, and U2, have dealt with Christian themes in their music. And Simon and Garfunkel. Yeah, and in positive terms. Now that's important to note too, because you'll hear a little bit of religion disparaged in a lot of music, but in positive terms. Many of you are familiar with the song, I Can Only Imagine. We've sung it here. It was not originally, as you know, it was not originally written for congregational singing. We've adapted it pretty good, I think, but I think it's still better sung as a solo or a small group. That's my opinion. Good movie. I haven't seen the movie yet. But I tell you what is most important about any of the Christian music, and that is the words. Another thing I've heard people say over the last several months, because I've had an ear to comments, but over the last several years, I've heard a lot of people say, I can't understand the music. I don't know what they're saying. And so what I want to do today is share with you the words of some of contemporary Christian music. And it's like I said a minute ago, the words and the sentiment to me is what is so important. If you have been housebound or put upon in some way, if you have had discouragement, depression, anxiety, if you've had business problems, if you've had problems with education, most everybody in here is beyond education, school age, you look for solace where you find it. And when I say that, I mean that we don't necessarily go looking for it, but it finds us. And through the last several years, that's what Christian music has become for me. And I'll be very honest, since making the decision back in the early spring, I have listened to it even more intently to hear the words. Now, a couple of apologies. I don't want to stand up here and read, but that's what I'm going to have to do. So I'm going to try to keep it a little not too monotonous, because I don't want to stand up here and read for 30 minutes. That's torture. I don't want to do that to you. Then I have to give the apology of another form of torture. I have prayed that the Spirit will use me and speak through me on this topic. And heaven forbid the Spirit moved me to sing one of these, because that really and truly might be, like I say, yet another form of torture. But at least it'll be a little break from the reading, okay? Let me just get into some of these, because the time will go quickly. And while I have about 30 pages here, I know I can't get through them all. And one reason some are turned sideways is because I can toss those and we can save them for another time. This is one that was recorded by a group called Casting Crowns. And to me, it is so significant because it speaks about Jesus and what Jesus is about in such a profound way that I had never really thought about. And I think I'm pretty regular. I don't think I'm really anything special. And so if it's profound to me, chances are it might be profound to a lot of other people. Jesus, friend of sinners, we have strayed so far away. We cut down people in your name, but the sword was never ours to swing. Jesus, friend of sinners, the truth's become so hard to see. The world is on their way to you, but they're tripping over me. Always looking around, but never looking up. I'm so double-minded. A plank-eyed saint with dirty hands and a heart divided. And the chorus says, "Oh, Jesus, friend of sinners, let our eyes to the world at the end of our pointing fingers." Oh, Jesus, friend of sinners, open our eyes to the world at the end of our pointing fingers. Let our hearts be led to mercy. Help us reach with open hearts and open doors. Oh, Jesus, friend of sinners, break our hearts for what breaks yours. Jesus, friend of sinners, the one who's writing in the sand, make the righteous turn away and the stones fall from their hands. Help us to remember we are all the least of thieves. Let the memory of your mercy bring your people to their knees. You love every lost cause. You reach for the outcast, for the leper and the lame. They're the reason that you came. Lord, I was that lost cause and I was the outcast, but you died for sinners just like me, a grateful leper at your feet. Oh, Jesus, friend of sinners, open our eyes to a world at the end. Open our eyes to a world at the end of our pointing fingers. Let our hearts be led by mercy. Help us reach with open hearts and open doors. Oh, Jesus, friend of sinners, break our hearts for what breaks yours. This is one that is a bit newer. That one has been around a while, and that one helped me get through several years off and on illness and other stuff, because it helped me realize, even when I felt really bad, or when I was recovering from surgery, or when I was poor, pitiful me, it helped me realize that Jesus Jesus came for me. And it didn't matter how pitiful I thought I was. That song identified other people that were in worse shape that he came for. This one is a little bit newer, and the first time I heard it, I was just, I can't believe those words. The name of it is The Reckless Love of God, and it's recorded by a Christian artist named Corey Asbury. But to me, initially, the word reckless, used in reference to my God, that is almost blasphemous. And that's what I thought until I stopped and listened to the words. Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. It chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. You have been so, so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. And you've been so, so good to me. There's no shadow you won't light up, no mountain you won't climb up coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. It chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. This one is another, it's called No Matter What by an artist called Ryan Stevenson. And what really caught me on this one first was the lyrics, or the melody. The melody, I get a vision of Sandra Dee dressed in a pink dress with a ponytail, waiting for a prom date to pick her up. Okay, now that's what the music sounds like to me. It's delightful music. But then I listen to the words. Oh, my goodness. A lot of us grew up believing at any moment we could lose it all. And at the drop of a hat, God might turn his back and move on. A lot of us feel like we blew it, thinking that we're just too far gone. But I want you to know there's still a hope for you now. No matter what you've done, you can't erase his love. Nothing can change it. You're not separated, no matter what. There's never been a better time to get honest. There's never been a better time to get clean. So come as you are, run to the cross and be free. I don't know what you've been taught, don't know what you've been told. All I know is my God will never let you go. And I don't know what you've seen, don't know what you've been through. All I know is my God will never let you go. He'll never, never let you go. No matter what you've done, you can't erase his love. Nothing can change it. You're not separated, no matter what. Now, there's one thing about this song that I think is excluded, and that is that while God may never let me go, it's still up to me to take him in. But I love the song. This is another one by a group called Sanctus Real. Sanctusreal, good group. I'm not a warrior, I'm too afraid to lose. I feel unqualified for what you're calling me to. But God, with your strength, I've got no excuse, because broken people are exactly who you use. So give me faith like Daniel in the lion's den. Give me hope like Moses in the wilderness. Give me a heart like David. Lord, be my defense so I can face my giants with confidence. You took a shepherd boy and made him a king, so I'm going to trust you and give you everything. I'll be a conqueror because you fight for me. I'll be a champion claiming your victory. So give me a faith like Daniel in the lion's den. Give me hope like Moses in the wilderness. Give me a heart like David. Lord, be my defense so I can face my giants with confidence. I'm going to sing and shout and shake the walls. Won't stop until you see them fall. Going to stand up, step out when you call. Jesus. I'm going to sing and shout and shake the walls. I won't stop until I see them fall. Going to stand up, step out when you call. Jesus. Give me faith like Daniel in the lion's den. Give me hope like Moses in the wilderness. Give me a heart like David. Lord, be my defense so I can face my giants with confidence. This song is neat. Again, the music is what caught my attention first because it's actually kind of got a rockabilly beat. You know what I mean when I say rockabilly? You may not. You probably don't. You may not. But the rest of y'all ought to know what rockabilly is. Rockabilly is what happened to music immediately before Elvis Presley. Let me give you a little history so you know a little bit more about me, speaking of Elvis Presley. I grew up, Mom and Dad had a hi-fi. Remember hi-fis, which preceded stereos? We always wanted a stereo, but we already had the hi-fi, so, it had to wear out, but the thing lasted forever. They signed up with RCA Record Club, and we had so many different records. Music was always important to my mom and dad, and therefore to me and my brothers. But one that I was so used to hearing was simply called Hymns by Tennessee Ernie Ford. Anybody in here not know who that is? Anybody else? My friend Jennifer from Huntsville, who is my surrogate daughter. From that explains it. She's way too young. Tennessee Ernie Ford. And one of my favorite songs ever is him singing the song Others. You remember that one? Others, Lord, yet others, let this my motto be, that I might live for others, that I might live like thee. Oh gosh, talk about some powerful words. What a wonderful prayer. And then another memory, I was coming home from the weekend when I was a student at Lipscomb, and I walked in the house, and it happened to be the weekend that Elvis died. And I walked in the house, and my mom was playing, I don't remember the name of the album, but it was spiritual hymns recorded by Elvis. So that's kind of where I grew up. So this rockabilly song kind of clicked with me a little bit. Everybody has trials and temptations. Everybody has heartbreak, isolation. Where could this possibly go in? But I wanted you to get a little bit of that rockabilly stuff. But we can lay our burdens down. What a friend we have in Jesus. East to west, my sins are gone. I see grace on every horizon, and forever and ever, his heart is my home. No more betrayal, for he is faithful. He fills me up, and my cup runneth over. No more betrayal, for he is faithful. How he has proven it over and over. No more betrayal, for he is faithful. He fills me up, and my cup runneth over. No more betrayal, for he is faithful. How he has proven it over and over. Not a lot of words, really. Well, there's a lot of words, but there's a lot of repetition, which brings another thing that I've heard that people say they don't care about this music. But again, some very powerful words. And what was the name? What a Friend, and it was recorded by Matt Maher, M-A-H-E-R. On the issue of the 7-Eleven songs, the repetitiveness of a lot of contemporary Christian music, I decided I wasn't going to go there today, so I'll just give it to you in a sentence. Look through your hymn book. You know, part of music appeals to our emotions. And actually, whether I'm in worship, because it happens here, or I'm in the car listening to the radio, when I hear things being repeated, I think, they just said that. They just said that. And then I think, what am I missing? What in what they've said bears so much repetition? It might simply be a line of praise to God. Can we praise God too much? It might be a statement of faith. It might be a request for mercy. But again, I kind of challenge you. If you feel that way about any song, listen, back up and listen to what's being said. And sometimes things are used because it simply fits the music. It is an industry, after all. But the first time it was included for a reason. So look for that reason. This is one of my favorites. It's called You Say. It's getting a lot of play on Christian radio, but it's actually on some pop stations too now, by an artist called Lauren Daigle. I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. You say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am falling short. When I don't belong, you say I am yours. And I believe. I believe what you say of me. The only thing that matters now is everything you think of me. In you I find my worth. In you I find my identity. Taking all I have and now I'm laying it at your feet. You have every failure, God, and you'll have every victory. You say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I'm strong when I think I'm weak. You say I am held when I am falling short. When I don't belong, you say that I am yours. And I believe what you say of me. And if you know what caught my ear on this one first, again, it's You Say by Lauren Daigle. If you're familiar with the artist Adele from England, she sings, it's pop music, but it's not bubblegum. She sings some really impressive stuff, and she's got a very distinctive voice. And Lauren Daigle sounds like her on this song, which is, I think, high praise. Lastly, I've got one here that the first time I remember hearing it was actually last summer at Lipscomb at the summer celebration. And they do like we do here. They put the words on a screen, but there's no music. So it was new to me. And fortunately enough, people knew it. And it's really pretty simple. I have ordered sheet music and actually gave it to Kevin this morning, so I'm hopeful that it's something we will sing here because, again, it's simple, but I think it's pretty meaningful. And one of the things that I really like about this song, too, is it incorporates a piece. As a matter of fact, the chorus or the refrain of this song is one that will be very familiar to you because it's pulled from an old song that we have sung for, oh, well, I know I've sung it for 250 years. So, one day you'll make everything new, Jesus. One day you'll bind every wound. The former things shall all pass away. No more tears. One day you'll make sense of it all, Jesus, one day every question resolved, every anxious thought left behind, no more fear. When we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. When we all see Jesus, we'll sing and shout the victory. One day we will see face to face. Jesus, is there a greater vision of grace? And in a moment we will be changed on that day. One day we'll be free, free indeed. Jesus, one day all this struggle will cease, and we will see your glory revealed on that day. When we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. When we all see Jesus, we'll sing and shout the victory. It's not really part of the song, but if you Google it, you can find, hold on, I'm drawing a blank on his name, the guy that recorded this. Matt Redman. It's really impressive because it's just him singing, and there is a piano accompaniment, and there's some choral sort of backup. But at the end of it, as in a very theatrical way, of course, even though it's sort of a casual setting, as the group is singing in the background, he illuminates further, which to me was very moving, at the same time very encouraging. And he said things like, no pain, no anxiety, no depression, no more shame, no more struggle, no more cancer, no more unanswered questions. We will see your glory one day. And for a class called Encouraging Words, I want to end on that, and I would ask you, what could be more encouraging? Thank you.